welcome to my Perspective Tuesday edition where we talk about men, women, and of course, children. And with me tonight is an interesting panel of men who have told me early. We have issues that we need to discuss. And of course, I'm starting off with one and only Coach Collins Bolo, all the way in Mombasa, Kenya. Good evening, sir. Vipi?
Poa sana, nashukuru. All the way
Karibu.
Asante sana, nashukuru sana.
How is Mombasa, sir?
Mombasa is fine, cool. It's not hot, it's not cold. We are just right there, enjoying the good atmosphere. We don't need to sweat so much, neither do we need to cover ourselves with duvet like people in Nairobi.
Okay. Coach Collins, there are people who do not know who you are. Kindly introduce yourself before we bring in the other man.
Okay. Coach Collins Bolo from Mombasa. I'm a psychologist and my background is an expertise in psychometrics. Basically, what I do is to assess the intelligence levels you have, the speed of your brain, how your brain coordinates with your body, which are some of the subject and courses. If you do, you will succeed naturally. Are you a gifted person? Are you college material? Are you university material? Also, apart from that, I'm a certified mediator by MTI. So through judiciary, I do a lot of mediation on different aspects of life. I'm a life coach, a relationship coach, and also a leadership coach at the same time.
Wow. I like the fact about degrees and what course you'll be taking, because there have been a lot of talk about degrees currently. However, tonight you'll be sitting in the relationship aspect of a coach. And let me bring in one man who says he's pushing the African agenda, the African man. Good evening, Mr. African man. How are you tonight?
Good evening, Mr. Eli. Good evening, Collins. Thank you very much. We bless God again. We can be here for this evening. So thanks a lot. Our viewers, welcome. It's a delicate topic, very personal, but I hope we won't have enemies after this. We only have friends.
Why, Matasi, why do you like make it look like we are attacking people? What is the topic about, actually? Just remind me, because
we're talking about personal behavior, PDA, public display of affection. You see, I don't even know if it's display of affection of expression. I don't know if it's public display or public expression of affection. So I get confused in between. But for the topic, this thing should be done. You should show in public or in private how you feel. There should be no limit to expression. That's my point. That's my perspective.
Yes, your perspective, Coach Collins. I know you're a relationship coach, but I want you to give us the perspective as a man, and then we'll bring in your expertise later on. But do you feel it's needed to show your affection in public? PDA.
Affections are good and affections are natural. Showing in public has to be in context. That's very key. Because there's some context whereby when you express your affection, for example, with someone who is not officially your wife, to the public, it brings a lot of queries and questions. Then doing the same thing if someone is known to be your wife or your husband. So context matters a lot. Another aspect of context is, for example, is it public? Now, public, like it can be different contexts. Like, is it a beach where you're walking in a public beach? Is it in a college? Is it in the church compound? Is it just in the neighborhood? Then is it within the city? Is it within the rural area? Now, the act in itself is appropriate, but can become misappropriate depending on the context of where you are, who you are with, and the event and the circumstance under which you need to express your affection. So context is very key. And who are you with as you express your affection?
I'm laughing because I'm just trying to figure around. Coach Collins, the generation you are in, we don't even care who we're with, but let's make it in a relationship context, okay? Wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. People have been complaining, my boyfriend or my girlfriend finds it difficult to hold my hand when we are on the street. But nikiwa nyumbani ananipendua kama samaki. He can't even give me space. is this the issue of context and space, or is it just about them not feeling the need to show other people that they're actually in love? Matasio.
Yeah, I agree with Collins on the time of context. That has nothing to do even the present time, whatever it is. I mean, for a very example, I can give an example. You are young, your mother, your father, you come from the city. Maybe you are used when you are in the city, you and your wife and children close yourself in a blanket on the couch and you cuddling each other while watching television. Do you do that in front of your parents and parents-in-law? Yeah, do you do that? And what's the context of the family? How do family hang around? How do some families sit? So for me, I think the only thing we can look at it is the idea of context. It can also be in front of kids. You know, it doesn't really matter. It's, I mean, for you also early, for you the same. If your parents at this age of 60s, 70s, they are coming, hey, how are you, sweetheart, my darling, kissing like 16-year-old. You'll go like, hey, Papa, Mama, what's going on? And they go like, what's your problem, you see? So actually I agree on the context, but I also think there is one thing I see which is also a very wrong narrative. People bother so much about other people's business. Too much. When I'm on the beach, and whoever I am with, whether it's my girlfriend or my wife or my fiance or whatever, what does it bother you whether we kiss or not? You understand? Sometimes I think there's this expression of people just bothering so much. I was somewhere, I was walking on the street and some just innocent lovers were kissing on the street. And some other people just get too much about it, you know, cheering, clapping. Hey, weka, fungua mdomo, weka ndani. What is that? So I think we have to also look at it like also sometimes we bother too much with other people's business. You know, I'm like, if people want to express themselves, but if it's affecting the context, I can look at it, we can discuss. But I think let people live their life, surely.
I mean, Coach Collins, you know why I'm laughing, right? These two are expressing their love and people are in their business. Should we make it our business what other people are doing? Coach, what is your relationship approach in terms of coaching when it comes to such? Coach Collins.
People are dating and courting. Or they are dating, not courting, because when we are courting, it means they have decided we are going to marry and they're clear about it. But dating is just a process of getting to know each other. Now let's assume this young man and young lady in the process of dating, they publicly show their affection because at that time they feel this is appropriate for us. Then 1 year down the line, they break the relationship. Then one or the other starts again another relationship. One might get confidence to show affection again. One might be hurt even more because after showing an expression in context of let them know that we are lovebirds. And now kimeumana, the shame and the guilt and the impact which comes to one of the partner or both sometimes becomes extremely much. Meaning that when you decide to show public affection, you have to be sure that you are mature enough for the consequence in case the relationship will go to another level or not. That's very key, especially in our context. You might be dating, but you won't get into marriage. Then unfortunately, like those who are dating in an environment like campus or college, this is a first year dating a fourth year. It's the first moment when this lady or young man is getting to a relationship. And boom, she blows. She wants to show everybody that finally I have a fourth year. They must know that I'm finally having a man who loves me. Because sometimes people do it as a show off. Not knowing as a naive first year, it will be dumped when the guy leaves fourth year. So what happens? She becomes a loving stock in that institution. Now, people can decide not to care, but you remain with a lot of wounds, which might make one start concluding that men are beasts. But the issue is not about them being beasts. In your excitement, you did not count the consequence of the good actions you are taking at that particular point. So that one becomes very key. Are you dating? Are you courting? Now,
Coach, dating or courting, it's quite it's quite a catchy here. And if you're watching us, let us know what's your perspective on this issue, where one party is having an issue actually expressing their love in public, whereas you're wondering, what is wrong with me? Coach Collins tells us you should be prepared for the consequences. What if the relationship doesn't take it over to the next level? There is a question that is coming in, and Coach, probably all of us can come along and try discuss it. I will bring it up. Good evening. I do not understand why in public someone will be ashamed to hold my hand or to hug me. There's nothing wrong showing some affection. Is it a cultural issue? Matasio, the African man.
With Njekitil, yeah, there's no need of feeling ashamed or whatever when you know the kind of situation you are in, a relationship or whatever. But however, I'm much more very concerned with two words that my brother Collins is using: courtship and dating. Then again, we talk about showing off and expressing. I think we have to divide it very clearly why people do things. Already, if you are doing something to show people how it is with your relationship, it's already the wrong side. You understand? That's already the wrong side. I am not taking pictures and putting on Facebook so that people can know how my relationship can be. That's not what I'm doing. I am appreciating the person I'm out with. I'm appreciating the love we have. I'm appreciating that moment you are in. I don't care, I really don't care. I walk there, I am with you, I see there is good music, na kushika na kupiga kisi ingine mzuri sana. I use watu wengine yangu. Because I know. Now, the only problem is, the moment we have double standards, that's where the problem is. The moment you are showing off while the other one is expressing themselves, or taking advantage of the other ones expressing themselves so that you can show off. Of course, a lady will put on so nicely all the most expensive makeup because she wants to express her beauty. She's not showing off her beauty. But if you go out with her, you don't want to appreciate her beauty, you just want to show off. So people, that's something also wrong. So the two of you are not in the same boat. One is expressing herself, the other one is showing off. So I think the most important thing here is, are we on the same line? Are we in the same book? Of course, I agree. There is nothing, there is no expression when you are going with a sponsor and doing all those. There's nothing expression. There is a clear show off and spending of money. That's the first thing. And of course, there are some men who also like to show off in another way. Some men like to show off. I buy my lady an expensive car. I buy my lady expensive jewelry. That's why they insist put on that expensive jewelry, because it reflects the kind of class I am. Now, then you are very clear that your man wants to show off. And I can do that. I can say, wait a minute, take a taxi. Why do you think I'm not going to take you there to this party with a matatu and you put him on high heels? So when you are both aware of those ones, and it's allowed to show off once in a while. You have worked very hard. You have done a lot.
Wait,
you have worked very hard.
Before I lose you, we are on affection, PDA, public display of affection, and you're bringing in the concept of showing off. How do these two interact? Am I showing you off by how we look and how we, the kind of lifestyle we are living? Or am I expressing my love for you by buying you those expensive jewelry and letting the public have some gallery view with you? Matasio, can you hear me?
I lost you a bit. You can't mean, but I lost you a bit. But I think you're on the same level. If I understand you, you are asking whether you are showing off or you're expressing yourself.
Well, because the argument here is one part of the couple is refusing probably to publicly display their affection for these individuals they are dating. But then you come with another interesting perspective, which says, I might be expressing my love, but I want to express it through the giftings on how we dress and how we appear in public. Is that what you're trying to refer to, or am I missing the point?
No, you are jumping with the 2 points, but I just want that when we discuss, we separate 2 things. Okay. There is expression. When I express myself, I have somebody I'm expressing to. When I express myself, I'm expressing to a particular person. You understand? So if I come there and I kiss whoever I am with, I'm expressing my affection to this person. You understand? But when I want to show off, I may kiss her, but I'm not showing off to her. I'm showing somebody else. So that's where I think where the thin line is. this public display, as we call it, I can also call it public affection. I can also call it public declaration. I can also call it a public statement. It's also very nice. What do we put on rings? Some choose golden rings, some choose silver rings, some choose diamond rings, some choose plain rings. So is a diamond ring a show off and a common silver ring a normal thing? When are you showing off and when are you expressing? So, and that's why I say we tied very close to what Colin says. There is a time in courtship. Maybe in dating you can show off a little bit, but in courtship you're talking serious matters here. So that's where I just like, okay, when do you, and there's nothing wrong with showing off. To be honest, there's nothing wrong with showing off. And for gentlemen, it's true. Also, women want to go around you with people they can be proud of. Utatembea na mtu atachachanua nywele, hajui kuvaa, sijui nini na nini. It's also embarrassing. So you can also not just say, yeah, me, you just live an embarrassing life just because you are afraid of showing off. No, showing off is part of life. Kwanza mimi ukiniona nanunua nguo mpya, my friend.
We know Mataz is a show-off, and let's not get into that. Coach Collins, when do we draw the line? When do we draw the line that this individual is actually showing off, and this one is actually expressing their love for their loved ones? Coach Collins.
When you agree.
Okay, the difference will be determined between showing off and expression. Actually, the difference is determined by the intention of the person expressing. Meaning it's from an individual first, than the third party observing from outside. Meaning that if today I walk with my wife, or let's assume it's my girlfriend, and because of the affection I have for her, then I decide to express my affection to her because I love her. And I want her to feel nice and good, because every woman feels nice, very good, when publicly an action is taken and displayed to demonstrate this man belongs to me. And it's good, it's a plus. It adds and accelerates the chemistry between both of you. Either is your wife, or you are dating, or you're in courtship at that point of time. So for women, when expression is done publicly, not for show off, because you love that particular individual, it gives a very good plus on the side of the woman. Why? Because a woman by nature, when affection is displayed, the feeling of your presence and her value and importance gives you a very big plus. On the side of the men, when this expression is done in love, it's a demonstration of true love to the woman. Now, when this man is scared to have any means of showing affection and is a Simba only in private room, we need to ask several questions at that particular point. Why are you scared in public? Is it because of the culture, because of the socialization, or you have other ways in which you demonstrate in public, but not necessarily by holding hands? And that's why love language becomes extremely important. When people get to understand as early as possible, what is your love language? The lady's love language might be, anytime you hold my hands in public, I feel I have my man. I feel I'm in the right relationship. Then that one becomes a key point towards accelerating your relationship, not for show off, for third party, but for your person whom you love and you have affection together with. Maybe on the side of the man, the lady as a woman, it is okay, but the man still need to be schooled and to understand that aspect. Then you need to give room for him to grow, or give room to understand the best way in which this individual expresses his affection, but not to be a hero in private and in public. Something need to be done.
I love that. And kindly join us in the conversation with the hashtag The Arts in Heart. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, The Arts in Heart Official. Coach Collins, I want us to take this to another level as we discuss this. And if you're joining us for the first time, kindly let us know where you're watching us from and what is your perspective when we discuss matters public affection or display of affection. We are with, of course, African man Matasio Kagwa and Coach Collins Bolo. Coach Collins.
Yes.
You know, the journey of affection it's a journey, as we put it. You meet man A or you meet woman B or A, and then you grow into feeling that, mutual attraction to one another and all that. And sometimes some people tell us, oh, I loved her because of her heart. You can't see the heart. Most of us see the physical aspect first. And I think one thing a lot of men tend to notice, it's how this lady was dressed. Now, where am I going with this? Sometime in 2014, there was an issue about my dress, my choice, because a lot of women were being molested because of how they were dressing. Coach Collins will agree with me, a lot of men do date women because of how they were looking when they met them. And along the line, the tables shift. All of a sudden, because you want her to be your wife or you have wifed her, you want her to wear or dress in a particular way. Because she's probably showing more than she should be showing. Is this double standard? Before I bring in Matasio.
Yeah, really interesting. You see, men by nature are lustful. What they see and admire is what they want. And during the time of the phase at which they start hunting, I actually said in my leadership training that men are born hunters. And in hunting, when different preys pass by their eyes, they get attracted by different things at different particular point in time. Now, because by nature we are lustful, we go by what we see at that particular point, then there's a tendency of, man, her figure, the way she walks, the way she speaks, that's what attracts us, because that's what you see from the face value. But as one matures in the interaction, then people start now, some getting to, what about the beauty below the skin? And few go to that level. Yes, outside, excellent. Some, because already they know at the aspect of the beauty below the skin, they go while checking both of them at the same time. Outside beauty, the dress code, her walk path, and everything. Just like some women, when they're courting, they are slay queens. The way they walk, they talk, they swag, and everything, it just gets your attention. But the moment they get married, some women in the church, in the society, tell them, from today, wewe ni mama. Sasa acha kukaa kama msichana. So what happened? They suddenly change their dress code. They start looking too old after the wedding. Why? Because they've been told it is not good, it is not nice to look attractive. And if you have to be attractive only in context of your home. Now, even if you're in your home and you've started delivering so many children, relatives are around, will you ever get back to dress to please your man? Now, it becomes important at this particular point for we men on our side to understand the default point of attraction, which is mostly physical. Then we get further on the beauty below the skin, especially when we are thinking about getting to marriage. That's very key. But if just a matter of fun, that's another thing of its own. That's what the children, most of the women know very well that, like a good example, like if you go to social media, every lady is, we call it twerking. People, the back, they're just boom, the tingisa. They don't do it for fellow women. Behind the scene, let the guy see and get attracted at that particular point, because many are aware men are moved by what they see. But do they make decision only by what they see from the face value, or they also consider beauty below the skin? Now, boys will go for the eyes alone, but men will go for both.
Well, I don't know what men see that boys don't see, but we'll be finding out, because there's one man here who is seeing food, whereas we are starving. Mr. African man, come back to the show. Let's have some eating of these wise words with Coach Collins Bolo, of course. African man, if I may, let me just engage you on this. Coach Collins has laid out. He says men get attracted. They are lustful by nature. So when you decide to dress in a particular way, you're not just showing what your mama gave you. You're actually inviting the guest to see. Does it then mean along the line, this man will tend to tell you, no, you cannot dress in this way because then you're attracting too much attention? And why the change of heart all of a sudden, African man?
Yeah, I agree completely with Collins on 2 points. I'm still back on the point of time for courtship and there's time for dating. I have a very good principle. I learned this a few years ago when my life was getting a bit confused. There's the principle of 2-4-6. It only says, if you're in the 20s, get excited with the things out of the 20s. When you get in the 40s, if you're still excited in the things of the 20s, your 60s will be a misery. Simple. 20, learn. 40, find your way. 60, settle down. That is physically, spiritually, and intellectually. All three levels. So for me, this idea of if you met when you were in the 20s and you met on the beach, putting on bikinis, and here you are in your 40s, kids running around, and you still want to run around with the tightest bikini or thong on the beach with your husband, I am not the one to judge, but I just give you the principle 2-4-6. Are you still in your 40s excited with the things of the 20s? You may, it's your choice, but then be sure your 60s will be miserable. That's why I can finish.
I don't know. I'm trying to use automation here, but it's not working with my microphone. Pardon me. Interesting that you say the 2-4-6, kind of principle. Let me tell you a short story. I'm not a good storyteller or orator for that matter, but let me tell you a good short story. There's this friend of mine who told me, Ellie, why are you not... You guys have a problem the way we dress, and when I talk about that, I'm talking about the white friends that we do have here in Europe. And I found it a bit disturbing because this one particular day, we were having this discussion, and then they tell me, yeah, I have no problem walking into the living room in my, in my briefs, and my wife is there, and my stepdaughter is there, and I'm like, how old is your stepdaughter? No, she's 18. How old are you? I'm 50. And your husband 53. And your daughter is 18. And it's supposed to be normal. So now I'm trying to still stay within the parameters. Don't get me wrong. Is it a problem that they are okay and free to express themselves because there is nothing that should stop you? So that brings now the publicity aspect. Is it an issue? How you dress in public? Coach Collins. Sorry, you can take that again.
Okay, back again. How you dress in public. Still, you have to understand the context of your public. It's very key. If I go to the village because I come from Mombasa and I'm with my wife and my children, and we put short pants like the way we do when you go to the beach in Mombasa, the crisis which are caused to the elderly and even the young people within that community, and the respect and honor which I could have received because I'm not contextual. Two, I'm not occasional at the same time, because I believe intelligence demands one to be very occasional. Just like in a wedding, you don't dress burial attires. Neither in the beach do you dress official attires as if you are going for an interview. Now, that one needs what we call, there's a name we call for dress code intelligence, like you have emotional intelligence. There's an intelligence level which you need to have as far as your dressing code is concerned. And sometimes we miss this kind of intelligence, whereby we are not occasional in our dressing code. It displays your level of intelligence as far as how you dress and appear. So sometimes it's not about how you, but you need to consider about the third party, the third eye around. And it's very key. And in our African context, interestingly, we believe in doing things with purpose and value behind it. Not like in other culture whereby it is so much cross-mixed until you don't have clear value systems. When the white people came to Africa, they found us walking with our own bikinis, just hiding the top and below. So what did they tell us? You are naked. And they dressed us, their own cultural attires, and we threw our own African attires away. Years later, they're dressing the way they found us when they come to Africa, and then we're like, what's up? Today, in our sort of day, we need to be very occasional as far as our dress code is concerned. It's like the confusion you see today. A performer, music artist performer, when he dresses on the costumes for performing, our young boys around would not differentiate between performance costume and day-to-day life attires. What do? The following day, they go in the street, they dress the costume to get attention and also to be seen they have really gone far. But it's all about because of understanding the aspect of being very occasional. So when they are in the city, whereby it's a season and a time whereby everybody dresses that way because it's hot, the context of that time, it's okay. Just like being in the swimming pool or the beach. When people are putting on bikinis at that time, even for men, you don't just start getting lustful because that's the environment for that particular occasion, and it becomes very nice and very cool. The issue is, how is your occasional intelligence as far as your dress code is concerned? So if we think in concept, then it will help us to be occasional, but not just self-centered as an individual.
Okay, let's think matters concept. Let's start with the African man. What are the basics of do's and don'ts when it comes to expressing your love for this loved, beautiful woman you've just met or you've been dating for a while? What are the do's that you think, no, this is not how I'm going to express my love for you in public?
First of all, there is no do's and don'ts when it comes to expressing yourself. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, proceed. I'm listening in.
Yeah. I was saying that I don't think there are do's and don'ts when it comes to expressing yourself to someone, apart from the sole agreement of what do you both like.
No, I'm talking in the context of public. Please. Let's.
Yeah, I mean, in public, because there are the two of you in public. I mean, there is nothing like, for example, let me give an example. It may be like it's no problem for a lady to dress a certain way in public for you and for her. But it may be a problem, as my friend Colin says, when you go to the village. So, and doesn't say that when you're in the village, you cannot do like this. It's all about, these are the things, that's what you talk about growing up. It's about growing up. It's like, okay, now I meet you. How does it, what is being decent for you? That's first of all, we have to think about it. What is being decent? What is being sexy? What is being intellectual? What is being respectable? What is being dignity? So at some point, you can tell somebody, listen, if I dress like this in front of such a person, I'm losing my dignity. Then you're talking about dignity. So then you talk about do's and don'ts about dignity. And it's not only about dressing, it's about how you treat each other. It's about even with your own children. When you take your children to the village, how do you want them to dress in the village? They're young girls, they're getting 16, 17, 18, they're in the village, their uncles are there. Do you let them dress how they dress in the city with their colleagues? Now, that's also one thing. So the do's and don'ts are actually, we cannot write them. They're really because they're in between expression, understanding, respect, culture, and all those things. Because you are who you dress. You have to understand that. You are who you dress. Sometimes you dress for the sake of a statement. Sometimes you dress for the sake of covering nakedness. Sometimes you dress because of what you can afford. So all these things put together, we cannot put the do's and don'ts on how to dress. We can rather put on the do's, on the don'ts of, are these the norms and the values of our community? So at the end of the day, you don't do what is out of your norms. You don't do what is out of your values. Now, I'll talk about Kenya particularly, and what my brother Collins mentioned, and a lot of African countries. We have been a lot brainwashed when it comes to fashion, when it comes to dressing. Sometimes we don't know why we dress. Sometimes we dress things we don't know why we dress. You can go to a very tropical city like Nairobi at a certain moment, and everybody's about bikini, hot pants, and everything throughout the year. You go to somewhere like Amsterdam, you can understand, oh, first of all, this white skin wants to stay in the sun so that the skin can turn a little bit. Now, you are African, first of all, you go take chemicals, clean your skin to look like that one, and then put on hot pants to look something strange, while this other person put on a hot pant and a bra just because to look different from the sun. A very natural way for them. A very natural way for a white person to go holiday, lie in the sun, and have a tan on the skin. And that may be the reason why they're lying on the beach all the time, almost naked. Why are you lying on the beach naked?
Because you want to entertain your boyfriend that you are with, showing affection to him so that they can admire you more than admiring the other people that are around you.
Wait a minute. The other one has not come there to be admired. The other one has come here to enjoy the sun so that they can be brown, they can be admired tomorrow at work. So you see, then that makes it in a sense that we are always losing the reason. I mean, some are dressing for medical reasons, I mean, beauty reasons, some are dressing for cultural expression, and indeed some are dressing to attract, which is also true. But the only reason is the dues are, why are you dressed like that?
To attract your boyfriend or girlfriend. Coach Collins, Matasio has decided he's not leaving the dressing issue anytime soon, and I understand him.
I lost you. I missed the joke.
It's all right. The joke was taken with the chalk.
Okay, all right. All right. No, it was muted. It was muted.
Yeah, because I couldn't cough through your stream. Anyway, my apologies. I'm just getting excited because I see another guy has decided yeye anakujanga kufunga show. But as we continue the conversation, Coach Collins, I want to ask you this. Matasio has really passionately spoken about dressing, but this is just part of our conversation. I'm asking if two individuals who are dating or courting, they want to go out there and express their love for one another. Person A is okay being handled with some TLC, tender love and care. And the other one, as long as there's somebody around, they even cannot say, this is my boyfriend. Is there a problem? Is there a red flag? Is there an issue?
I don't think there's a problem. I don't think there's a red flag. It just shows where you are in your journey of life as far as your relationship is concerned. And also it's an evidence of diversity of your background, expectations, even at that particular point as you relate. That's where it becomes extremely important to understand your love language, even at that particular stage, and to understand why the other person prefers not to. And true love regards the feelings of the other particular partner, so that none is seen to be selfish because of other third parties. But if this man, for example, is done scared, if he doesn't kiss you in public or hold your hands in public, does it mean he doesn't love you? That's very key and very important. The intention becomes priority number one, then the methodology becomes now an excellent part two of it. Now, that one needs discussion. That's what I'm saying. What men see, want, and what boys see and want, they are two different things. If you are a man, or if you are a lady, not a girl, understand your partner, understand the love language of your partner, and agree on how it can be expressed in a mutual manner which will build your relationship. It doesn't matter what other people think, but first, does it build your relationship upon understanding each other? And now that's the aspect of being mature. Being 20s does not mean necessarily you are immature, but also it means key, understanding yourselves, understanding where you are in your journey of life, understanding your love language, even at that particular point. Because if you don't invest today to understand these things at this stage, how sure are you're going to have time to understand it when you get into marriage?
Understanding the love language. And Coach Collins, love and affection is about reciprocation. If I was making a joke the other day, one person calls and then they say, hi, how are you? Good morning. The natural answer is,
good morning.
How was your day?
The answer is good, even if it's not good.
Well, the natural way when you end this call, especially if it's between two persons that are loving each other, in our context, this man and woman, they'll say probably, I love you. What is the expected response, Coach Collins? You are the relationship coach.
I love you too.
What if they say, sawa? Godwin is here to help us.
There's something that will
Godwin. Bay, karibu sana Godwin Segero to close us the show. How are you? Your girlfriend calls you after you talk to them, you tell them you love them, and they tell you, sawa.
My friend, you have to know your position. Even if they just omit the one love you too, and they say, me too. Well, me too what? So it's just a signal to tell you that it's a one-sided thing. So just say whatever you have to say, but we are not in this together.
So this person is dating themselves, in short. Because when you tell me I love you and you say me too, I believe the answer is you're telling yourself you love yourself. If I'm not wrong. But then again, that's a story for another day. We'll be continuing with a lot of conversation. I see them in the comment section. Unfortunately, I'm not able to follow all of them. But let's just continue chatting in the comment section. And if you're joining, remember you can always check later on these comments in the live chat section. Because a lot of people go to check in the comments and they say, but I don't see the comments. No, the comments stay in the live chat section. So just click on that mini tab and be able to see what people were saying during the live conversation. So, Matasio, baby has decided to say me too. They cannot say I love you back. Now you take them out, and when they want to introduce you to their friends, when they say, okay, and who is this? The answer is, this is the person we live with. They cannot call you husband. They cannot call you boyfriend. How do you define your position? And how is this affection being displayed?
To be honest, I would rather that one than be called things like baby daddy, ama, things like those ones. First of all, I'll express that when you are, you should know the position before you even leave the house and go somewhere together. You already know your position. You already know how you'll be introduced. So this one of picking the petty things is actually where sometimes we lose the track. Because I agree with what Brother Collins says. It only shows at what stage you are in your relationship. Clear. It shows at what stage you are. Maybe it is even to a stage where you used to call each other babe, lover, whatever. Size you are at home, bushaza watoto, wakwapo analia. Hata ukisema I love you babe, unafikiria nitatoa wapi unga, nitafanya nini. There is no time to even hata wewe mwanamume mwenyewe. There's no time to say I love you too babe. You understand? And it's nothing to do with the feelings. Just you are at that stage at that moment. You understand? And some things are just like you piss me off. Maybe you're saying I love you babe because you are come home late. Unajua umechelewa. Unakuja sweetheart, how are you? I love you wapi? Hiyo ni ingine. Mimi sasa nimekasirika. So those things only shows temporal situations, exact situations you are in. So, and I like to really, from a very Pan-Africanist point of view, all these things are fake. I love you, kiss kwa mdomo, nini. We have learned them from the Western culture, to be very honest. Wengine, you have to kiss. So, zina changing, squeeze, you have to kiss me here, use the peg, squeeze it a hug, munafanya hivi. So at some point, we also get into very, very fake ways of expressing ourselves. Maybe for me, to be honest, when I know down deep you're just trying to show, hey babe, I've missed you, I love you. Hiyo unajaribu kizungu mingi, hakuna kitu hapo katikati. It can also be possible. So from a Pan-Africanist way you're looking at it, We have so many ways of expressing our feelings, both in courtship, in marriage, in dating, that sometimes we use a lot of fake ways of expressing, and then we want to use those ones to judge the other one whether they love me enough or not.
Thank you. Now to the coach, Mr. Collins Bolo. Today I'm asking very, very specific questions. Don't start asking me, Elio, who hurt you. No, nobody hurt me because I have enough generous love. I can always distribute. For now, let's stick to the facts. And Coach Collins, you have or you are in a relationship as a man or as a woman, and your spouse or your partner has an easy time when you are with your friends to try and show affection. You know, they have no problem displaying how much they love you. The moment you step out of that room, this person cannot even ask you, how are you doing, my love? Atakuuliza tu, unataka? Yani hata mapenzi inapungua kwa sentences yake. Is there a problem? Coach Collins, I'll get your microphone.
Yes. There are times whereby the spouses can be in a conflict, and probably the woman may not want necessarily because we're in a conflict to.
Oh, unfortunately, I believe we lost Coach Collins. We'll try get him back. Unfortunately, I hope he'll be able to answer that when he comes back. But for now, let me throw it back to you, Godwin. You are in public, baby girl or husband is able to express their feeling with nothing stopping them. Then suddenly, they appear when you are the two of you and they are not even able to show you a little bit of love or their affection. Is there a problem? Before I bring in the dating or relationship expert.
I think the first place you have to understand where this person is coming from, because I don't think someone will just all of a sudden try to show you affection in public and they withhold when you're back to the two of you. It shows maybe you guys maybe had an issue before, or there's something you're yet to confront or for you to resolve. So the fact, for me, I will understand from this perspective that this person is trying to protect maybe the image and giving you time for you to resolve in case there's an issue that is yet to be resolved. And now it depends with how you guys communicate, how you read cues of one another. You know, because it will depend before the gathering where you are, what happened for that person to react that way. Were you okay before then, or were you having an issue? And probably if you are okay before that scenario, and then all of a sudden after maybe the people have gone, the mood has changed, it means there's a way you reacted, there's something you said consciously or subconsciously that hurt her or him without you knowing. So this reaction is to tell you, you know what, there's something you did I didn't like. Now it's you to know what's the problem. You know, that's where you come and ask. That's when you can say,
I like this analogy. I love this analogy. But let's picture one painted that probably there are some unresolved issues. You went there, everything was fine, and all of a sudden, nothing is fine. So baby girl wants to show you we are not at peace, so they withhold their affection. Coach Collins, scenario 2, this is how they behave every time. In public, but in private, they do not show you a pinch of affection.
Now, if it's in that context, then it becomes extremely important again to get back to your drawing board. Maybe this person grew and was socialized to display everything is okay in public, but when you're together, the person is showing the true nature, true color. Things are not okay. Or probably the person does not feel there's anything wrong with you, but the code of how she can express herself to you in comparison to the public, the training and the nurturing is different. Now that one becomes key for you as a man at that particular point to come in and to get to understand, is this person conscious about what happens in private from what happens in public? You need to be aware if he or she is conscious. That's an assumption that even if there's no problem at home, the way she expresses herself in public and private when you're together, it's so much different. And that's why again we come back to the issue of love language. Maybe it's part of her blind spot. She's not aware. With her, she has you. There's no problem. Why should I start acting as if the way I'm in public, but everything is okay on her side? Maybe it's a blind spot and she's not aware about it. As far as she's concerned, she's okay. She loves you. Everything is good. But on your side, you feel like something is wrong. My woman, when she's in the public, she's totally another loving lady, but in private, she doesn't look loving. Then the next thing will be, before you got married, was she still expressing herself that way? Or it started after some certain event and episode in your life? If that's how she was before, then it's better to start understanding her as far as her expression and love expression is concerned. Probably you're using your own standard against her. But if you're going to get her and to understand her and how she can express herself, or she can start doing the same in when you're together, it's going to help. It's a journey. Most of the time, men want ready-made effect on our women, but it is a journey.
It is a journey, and African man, any particular reasons this could be happening before we can bring this ship home?
Another realistic perspective, not only limited to courtship, but also marriage. What I call help seekers or attention seekers or whatever. Attention may sound so bad. This example of when people behave differently in public as then behave exactly the opposite at home. Okay, it may be normal if they are just like that. There are people who really normally, they don't like to express themselves in public. Or the people also who like to express themselves in public in such a very sweet way, because sometimes they just don't know how to go about it, and it has nothing to do with you. It's just that's them, you know. They're just, even the men who are there, they feel like, oh, if I'm with a lady outside, I must keep giving her attention, otherwise it's not nice. And they do it from a good heart. There's nothing wrong. They're just like, they can ask, oh, you want to have a drink? Yeah, okay. Are you okay? Yes. You want this? You want this? They go like, don't stop bothering me. I just give me a drink, adding me more. But it's just in their nature that that's the way they express themselves, which if they are, as Colin says, if they have always been like that, it's time for you to start understanding. But if they are not like that, then again, there is help seekers. And this help is such the moment that is public. You understand? You are in public there. Maybe this is the time this woman wants to express something, or this man wants to say something, or maybe want to talk to you in a way that you may start another conversation with a witness. So it can be a witness collecting event. If it's a witness collecting event, then you have to go and find what is the root cause of all this witness collecting event. Why are you so nice there all the time? Or why are you so volatile to me, and yet at home you're talking nice, we live here good, we're having a... It can even be just on the sides of discussion. Mukiongea siasa anakuoppose. Mukiongea business anakuoppose. Mukiongea parenting anakuoppose. There are these couples, wherever you go out, the other one is always opposing the other one. You understand? That's also another way of public expression. And even sitting, there are some who also go, they don't want to sit close to you. Anafika hapa na kutupa kwa ma sister zake nini, amekaa huko na wanaume, anaanza ambia mama tuko karibu kuondoka. Never even had time with this guy. Same to ladies also. They throw you somewhere, they leave you with those other men, or even the aunties. She's there in the kitchen with the aunties, the whole birthday party. Anakuja tu cha kusema, hebu umetoa zawadi, hebu leta pesa ya zawadi, atarudi tena, hebu leta hivi. So you see, those ones are there. But I really agree. I think there is a moment when there's a particular expression directly for the public. It may be family members, it may be friends. So that behavior is actually meant to get attention from the public for a certain reason. Then go look what is the reason. But if she was always like that, then it also starts to understand, now this is just the nature of person. Some of them don't even want to dress nicely, extremely nice. I know men who really buy nice bikinis for their friends, their girlfriends. They never use them to go to the beach. Wakae nazo kwa nyumba, but never will they go with them in the swimming pool. That also is something to understand.
I can tell, Matasi, you have a lot of bikini experience. You've been mentioning it since we started the show, but it's your word against mine. Let's just conclude on this one here. We can express our love and our affection for one another with the things we do. Does the how matter? If I come and I express forget about love languages now, speaking out the words, I love you and I care about you with sincerity. Does it matter, or ujuenge tu unapendwa? Must I tell you every day, Godwin?
It matters.
That matters a lot, because if you're used to being told I love you, and then all of a sudden it disappears or it starts fading away, now that's where insecurity starts arising. Like, is there someone else who's being told that, or what changed? So there are those things. Maybe the frequency might reduce as love progresses, like the stages advance. But again, there's a time you just want to hear someone telling you I love you. We should call it words of affirmation. You want to be reminded, like, you're being loved. Yes, I know I told you I love you and all that, but at times you just want to be reassured that the love still exists. So I think it's important. It recognizes, that the three words only can change the mood. Maybe this person was going through some stress, or maybe amekuwa na a very long day, stressful, and then you just tell them I love you. It recognizes the mood, and they're like, oh, I have a reason to smile again. So I think it's very important.
Awesome. It's important. Coach Collins, does the speaking of the words do matter?
In the society which we live today, it does matter a lot, especially if self-awareness or importance of what you speak is on both partners. For women, they need reminder all the time, not because they forget, but by nature, what they hear moves them very much than for us men. As a man, I don't need my wife to be reminding me every time I love you, I love you, I love you. Because from my masculinity point of view, it's good but not mandatory. But for a woman, what she hears plays a very key role about affirmation of who she is, where she is, and her position as far as her life is concerned. So as far as gender issue is concerned, men ought to be reminding their wives all the time that I love you by speaking. I understand in African context, you demonstrate love by action than by speaking. But if we learn to integrate the two, the impact becomes even much more in one way or the other. It reminds me about one young man sometimes back. Then actually the lady was expecting him to speak the same words. Excuse me, unanipenda. And the man responded by telling her, sikusema ninakuchukia. Try to imagine the impact which went on this lady at this particular point. So it was very insensitive as far as the need of this woman is concerned, as far as the emotional need is concerned, a position, and understanding the view of his man in his mind by what comes out. So words have power. Words have a key role, especially to our women. Very important. For a man, even if your woman won't tell you for a whole month, I love you, you won't be stressed unless you develop to be your mama. However, it is still good when once in a while also your woman can be telling you that, man, I love you so much. It's important because, why is it important? You can hear her expressing a feminine expectation towards you from your masculine point of view, which is very key. Let us learn and practice the art of using our words to affirm our position for our partners.
Words of affirmation is what I like. I think I have no problem. As Coach Collins akisema niko na umama, I have no problem if my woman tells me Ellie, I love you. I have no problem. Coach Collins can tell me nipeleke umama huko. But jamaa amevaa kitenge, hebu tumalizie hii show tuambie. What is your conclusion on this topic, sir? Matasio.
I'm unmuted. I think my conclusion is very simple and sorry, it is in much agreement with what Collins says. What I conclude is this. I think we have to look at two differences, how people react, the male, the feminine, and the masculine gender. I think men are mostly tuned to liking what they see with their eyes. They react more to the physical world, what we see, a good car, a beautiful lady, a big house, whatever. It works more on us. Women are much more conscious, or rather much more taken away with what they hear, what they feel. So in one way to say, women, for me, in my perspective, are much more inclined to the spiritual world. And men are much more inclined to the physical world. So a man may not even bother to hear that I love you, but he may have a problem if he came home and he realized there is no supper today. Even I love you, I do all those things, doesn't matter. It's the physical world. Iko chakula makuna. Kama hujanipikia unipendi. He doesn't even, aoni chakula kwa meza. Kwa hivyo chenye hajaona, it is not love. But a woman, wewe utakuja, hujabeba chakula, lakini you can talk to her, ataelewa where you went through. So I think when you all know that men are more inclined to what they see is how they express themselves, and women more as in how they hear and how they feel is how they express themselves, then we can know how we can deal with each other. But I think my only conclusion is we really look at things from different perspectives. Some like to see, some like to feel.
Thank you, Matasio. Some likes to see, some love to feel. I am the one that loves both. I want to feel, I want to hear, and I want to see. After all, it is what it is. That is my perspective this Tuesday, and we can't wait to have you again next week. Same time, same place, same channels, with, of course, Coach Collins Ball all the way in Mombasa, Kenya. Asante sana kwa kukuja to this conversation tonight. We have, of course, the African man. Jamaa ambaye ameamua leo atatusumbua na vitenge. Sijui ni nani alikufanya unavalishwa kitenge. Godwin Segero alirudi shule, that's why he comes only for half an hour, ni kama amekuja tea break. But it's all right, it happens every Tuesday. See you again next Tuesday. And Coach Collins ameniambia before we finish this, on Saturday he'll be coming on with something about marriage matters, and he'll be talking about financial implications of why marriage matters. So do tune in, kwa sababu hiyo ni tamu sana kwa wale ambao wanasema I do not need a man or a woman in my life. And on Sunday, we have Against All Odds. On Thursday, the Perspective Show will be taking some quiet break because we are planning for a new show starting next month, if I'm not wrong. Of course, we'll be featuring African man Godwin Segero. But this one will be coming on a Friday. So this Thursday is giving us some time to breathe in order for us to bring you much, much more. Until next week, as we come back. But Coach Collins, nina swali tu. As a man that deals with relationships and makes sure that relationships are working, who should call first? Is it the man or the woman? Simu. Nani atakana apigie mwingine?
It's a responsibility for both.
Godwin, who should call first?
It's a two-way traffic, Ellie.
Wow, that's a big vote. African man, who should call first?
Both.
Both should call. Hakuna mtu anataka na ngoje simu ati nitapigiwa simu kwa sababu mimi ni baby girl.
Hakuna.
Yes, coach?
For girls, yes, but for men and women, it's a responsibility for both. Communication is key for every success in a relationship. So both need to take responsibility, not one waiting until the other one. If they're boys and girls, it's okay. It's cat and dog game. But for men and women, mature people, take responsibility to communicate.
Take responsibility, and that's exactly the topic we'll be discussing next Tuesday about communication and why it's important between men and women. Boys and girls, you can wait for your time. Probably you will know why nimengoja text yako sikuoni means or doesn't mean. Or why should I have called if you didn't text? You know, those kind of conversation. Thank you so much, Nikita, for being our keyboard warrior tonight. You win. Applause to you. you. Great show tonight, The Perspective. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, I see Matasio was both in the show and in the comment section. Asante sana, Matasio, for making it very, very active. I see one Boniface Uitaba who says, Njekita zoea style ya mume kutembea 5 steps behind mkewe. Yani, there is no walking together. If we are going out, my only way of expressing I love you, I have to be viewing you from behind as you lead from the front. That is his perspective. Noreen, thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, each and everyone that made this conversation worth having it. Until next week, I'm out. My name is Likuyani Eli. I'm your host. And of course, the rest of the panelists, asanteni sana. Tuonane, wazee.
Bye.
Okay. Na sio ni outro imeenda wapi? Outro imepotea.
Finya out button.
Tufinye nini? Outro imepotea.
Finya leave. Weka ngoma.
Tuonane.
Ulitizama kitanda changu kimejaa kunguni, godoro inchi 2, ukasema wanipenda. Simu yangu masekete, nguo zangu matambara, viatu vilivyochapishwa viraka, ukasema wanipenda kutoka ndani ya roho. Tulipoenda bafuni nawe, sabuni ya kipande, uzini wa gunia, ukasema hujali, fanaka uchoka kwa Mola. Sasa iweje leo hii nasikia fununu toka kwa rafiki zako kuwa wanipa talaka? Sasa iweje leo hii hadithi za kuaminika zaniambia mapenzi haya yamekuchosha? Sasa iweje leo hii naambiwa wasema umasikini wangu wewe umekuchosha? Ninachoomba baby, nipende nilivyo. Baby, nipende nilivyo. Zawadi ya fanaka hiyo kutoka kwa Mola, mafanikio kutoka kwa Mola. Baby, baby, ninachoomba mimi